Alex Reynolds sat at his desk in the monitoring station, eyes fixed on the large screen showing the dark expanse of space. His coffee had gone cold hours ago, but he barely noticed. Something unusual had appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system, an unidentified object that matched no known profile. "Dr. Grant, you need to see this," he called over his shoulder. Olivia Grant walked quickly across the room, her dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. As the team's expert in alien languages and communication, she'd been working late analyzing signal patterns. "What am I looking at?" she asked, leaning closer to the screen. It appeared about 40 minutes ago. No warning, no approach trajectory. Just appeared. Alex zoomed in on the object, and it's massive, at least 3 times larger than our biggest space station. Olivia frowned. "Have you alerted command?" "Just sent the preliminary data. They're calling an emergency meeting." The room grew busier as more staff arrived, drawn by the buzz of activity. News of an unknown object traveled fast, even at 2 a.m. Technicians worked at their stations, collecting data and running analysis programs. 2 hours later, Alex and Olivia found themselves inside the United Earth Defense Council's meeting room. The circular table seated 20 people, but only 12 chairs were filled. Earth's top scientists and military leaders hastily assembled. Admiral Diane Miller stood at the head of the table, her gray-streaked hair and decorated uniform commanding immediate respect. "What do we know about this visitor?" she asked, her voice sharp with concern. Commander John Harper, head of Earth's defense fleet, pulled up a holographic display. "The object is approximately 4.7 kilometers in length. It's made of materials our scanners can't fully identify. And it's now broadcasting on multiple frequencies." "Broadcasting what?" someone asked. Dr. Grant cleared her throat. "That's my department. They're sending what appears to be a request for diplomatic contact. The message repeats in several mathematical sequences that suggest intelligence, followed by what we believe are language samples." "Can you understand any of it?" Admiral Miller asked. "Not yet. It's unlike anything in our databases, but the structure suggests advanced communication capabilities." The Admiral turned to a thin man sitting quietly at the far end of the table. "What about our allies? Have the Galactic Alliance representatives been notified?" "They have," the man replied. "The Arcturian and Centaurian diplomats on Mars were informed immediately." "And?" The man looked uncomfortable. They've gone silent. Their outpost reports that all Alliance representatives have boarded their ships and left orbit. They're heading back to their home systems." Murmurs of surprise and concern filled the room. "They left?" Commander Harper said incredulously, without explanation, without offering assistance. "They cited strategic concerns and said they needed to consult with their governments." Admiral Miller's face hardened. "So the Galactic Alliance, with their superior technology and centuries of interspecies diplomacy experience, has abandoned us at first sign of an unknown visitor." Alex looked at Olivia, seeing his own concern reflected in her eyes. "The alien vessel is requesting a face-to-face meeting," Dr. Grant said, checking her tablet. "They specifically asked for humans to represent Earth." "Not Alliance members?" Harper asked. "No, just humans." Admiral Miller walked slowly around the table. "We've been part of the galactic community for less than a century. We're the newcomers, the least advanced species. Why would they want to talk only to us?" "Maybe that's exactly why," Alex suggested, speaking up for the first time. "We're unknown to them. A neutral party." The Admiral nodded thoughtfully. "Well, it seems we have no choice. If the Alliance won't help us, we'll handle this ourselves." She looked around the room. "I need volunteers for a first contact team. Who's willing to meet our mysterious visitors?" Alex raised his hand without hesitation. Beside him, Olivia did the same. Alex checked his pressure suit one last time as the shuttle prepared for docking. Through the viewport, he could see the alien vessel growing larger. a massive structure with strange patterns covering its dark surface. These patterns seemed to move slightly, like ripples on water. "Nervous?" Olivia asked, adjusting her own suit beside him. "Terrified," Alex admitted with a small smile, "but also excited. First contact. This is why I joined the space program." Lieutenant Kate Wilson piloted the shuttle with steady hands, approaching the coordinates they provided. Their vessel is maintaining position. The 3 humans had been selected for this critical mission. Alex for his background in interspecies relations, Olivia for her language expertise, and Kate for her piloting skills and military training. A small team representing all of humanity. "I still don't understand why the Alliance ran," Kate said, keeping her eyes on the controls. "The Arcturians have dealt with dozens of new species. What scared them about this one?" "We might find out soon enough," Olivia replied softly. A beam of blue light suddenly enveloped their shuttle. Alex felt his heart race as the small craft was gently pulled toward the alien vessel. "They've locked onto us with some kind of tractor beam," Kate reported, voice remarkably calm. "All systems still functioning normally." "Let them guide us in," Alex said. "Show we trust them." The shuttle was drawn into a vast opening that appeared in the side of the vessel. The interior space glowed with soft, pulsing light that seemed to come from the walls themselves. Their craft settled gently onto a smooth surface. "Atmosphere readings?" Olivia asked. Kate checked her instruments. "Breathable mix, surprisingly close to Earth normal. Temperature slightly cooler than we're used to." "They'd done their homework," Alex noted. After cycling through the airlock, the 3 humans stepped onto the alien deck. The floor felt slightly springy beneath their boots, and the air carried unfamiliar scents, something like ozone mixed with cinnamon. "Hello," Alex called out, feeling suddenly foolish. "We are representatives of Earth." A section of the wall rippled, and 3 tall figures emerged. Each stood nearly 7 feet tall, with slender bodies that seemed almost transparent. Inside their forms, complex networks of light pulsed and flowed like blood through veins. Where faces should be, 4 large eyes blinked in perfect unison. Olivia activated her translation device, though she wasn't sure it would work. "We come in peace and friendship," she said clearly. The central figure moved forward. Its body glowed brighter, and instead of speaking aloud, the humans heard a voice directly in their minds. "We are the Voidborn. We have watched your world for some time." The sensation of having another being's thoughts in their heads was disorienting. Kate's hand drifted toward her sidearm, but Alex gently touched her arm. "Thank you for meeting with us," Alex responded. "We're honored to make your acquaintance." The alien's inner lights pulsed. "You are young, emotional, impulsive, yet you came to meet us, while the older races fled." The Alliance representatives chose not to attend, Olivia explained diplomatically. The aliens' lights flashed briefly. "They did not choose. They fled in fear. They know what we are." "And what are you?" Alex asked carefully. "We are travelers, migrants between stars. We have visited this galaxy before, long ago." "How long ago?" Kate questioned. "By your measurement, approximately 10,000 of your years." The humans exchanged glances. "That would explain why the Alliance knows of you," Olivia realized. "Their civilizations are much older than ours." "Yes," the alien confirmed. "The old races remember us. They fear us. But you humans, you walked forward when they stepped back." "Interesting." Back at Lunar Command, the debriefing room was filled with tense energy. Admiral Miller sat at the head of the table, her face serious, as she listened to the first contact team's report. "They call themselves the Voidborn," Alex explained, standing beside a holographic display showing images they had captured of the aliens. "According to what they told us, they'd visited our galaxy before, thousands of years ago. And that's why the Alliance representatives left." Admiral Miller asked, drumming her fingers on the table. Olivia nodded. It seems so. The Voidborn implied that the older races remember them from their previous passage through this sector. They even suggested that the Galactic Alliance was originally formed because of them. Dr. Patricia Lee, Earth's leading expert on alien biology, studied the scans they had taken. Her eyes widened as she scrolled through the data. "These beings are unlike anything I've ever seen," she said. "Their bodies exist partially in dimensions we can barely detect, let alone understand. The energy patterns within them don't match any known life form." Commander Harper paced behind the seated officials. So the mighty Galactic Alliance, with all their advanced technology and thousands of years of knowledge, took one look at these Voidborn and ran away without even warning us. "That's exactly what happened," Alex confirmed. "And now the Voidborn want to negotiate with us, humans alone." Admiral Miller leaned forward. "Negotiate what, exactly?" "They want permission to travel through our section of space," Alex said. "They describe themselves as migrants, moving from one region of the galaxy to another." "Did they say why they need to migrate?" Dr. Lee asked. "Not specifically," Olivia answered. "But they implied it's a natural cycle for them, something they do every few thousand years. And if we refuse them passage?" Commander Harper asked the question everyone was thinking. Olivia hesitated before answering. "They didn't directly threaten us, but they did mention that during their last migration, several civilizations that opposed them no longer exist." The room erupted in worried conversation until Admiral Miller raised her hand for silence. "Did they give us a deadline for our answer?" she asked. 3 Earth days," Alex replied. Admiral Miller turned to her communications officer. "Any response from the Alliance yet?" "No, Admiral. All our messages remain unanswered." The Admiral stood up, her decision made. "Then we proceed on our own. We have 3 days to figure out how to handle a species powerful enough to frighten the entire Galactic Alliance." "I've been analyzing their proposed travel path," Kate said, pulling up a star chart. "It would take them directly through 3 of our outer colony worlds." "That can't happen," Commander Harper stated firmly. "Those colonies have minimal defenses." Alex studied the map thoughtfully. "What if we proposed an alternative route? One that bypasses our settlements but still lets them reach their destination. Would they accept such a compromise?" Dr. Lee wondered. "I think they might," Olivia said. "There was something in their communication, a certain respect when they noted that we showed up while the Alliance ran away. I believe they value courage." Admiral Miller considered this. "It's worth trying. I want a detailed proposal on my desk in 12 hours. Alternative routes, diplomatic language, contingency plans, everything." As the meeting broke up, Alex stayed behind, staring at the holographic image of the Voidborn. "You're thinking something," Admiral Miller said, noticing his expression. "I'm wondering if we have an advantage precisely because we're new to the galactic community," Alex replied. "We don't carry the same historical fears. Maybe that's letting us see options the Alliance can't. Or maybe we're walking into a trap they're wise enough to avoid," the Admiral countered. "Perhaps," Alex admitted, "but sometimes the greatest danger is in refusing to face the unknown." As morning light filtered through the windows of Lunar Command, Alex and the team presented their plan in the main conference room. Digital maps and star charts filled the display screens surrounding them. "The Voidborn's original path would take them here," Alex explained, using a laser pointer to trace a red line across the map. "Directly through our settlements on Europa, Titan, and the Kuiper Belt mining stations." All eyes followed his movements, faces tense with concentration. "We've worked through the night to develop this alternative," he continued, pressing a button to show a new green path. "This route adds only 8 days to their journey, but completely avoids human settlements." Admiral Miller studied the proposal carefully. "And you believe they'll accept this?" Olivia stepped forward. "We think so. The detour is minimal compared to their total journey time. More importantly, we're offering them something valuable, Our navigation data on the unusual gravitational patterns in the Kuiper Belt region. Navigation data. Commander Harper raised an eyebrow. That hardly seems like a fair trade for our safety. Dr. Lee shook her head. You misunderstand the value. The Voidborn haven't been in our galaxy for thousands of years. The star patterns have changed, new anomalies have formed. Our recent mapping data could save them significant trouble. Still, Harper insisted, we're assuming they'll negotiate fairly. These beings frightened the entire Alliance into retreat. They didn't actually threaten us, Alex pointed out. They stated historical fact about what happened during their last passage, and they chose to approach diplomatically. They could have simply moved through our space without asking. Admiral Miller nodded slowly. They're respecting our sovereignty, which is more than our so-called allies did by abandoning us without warning. There's something else, Olivia added. During our meeting, I detected patterns in their psychic communication that resembled emotional responses. Specifically, what might be their version of respect. Respect. Dr. Lee looked surprised. For what? For our courage, Alex said simply. I believe we impressed them by showing up at all. The room fell quiet as everyone considered this. So the most advanced beings in the galaxy think we're too stupid to be afraid. Commander Harper finally asked with a short laugh. Alex smiled slightly. I prefer to think they appreciate that we faced the unknown instead of running from it. Admiral Miller stood up, decision made. We'll proceed with this plan. Alex, Olivia, you'll lead the negotiation team again. I'll join you personally this time. Admiral, Harper protested. Is that wise? Putting our highest-ranking officer at risk. It shows we take this seriously, she replied firmly. Besides, if these beings wanted to harm us, they could have done so already. As the meeting ended and people filed out, Dr. Lee approached Alex. There's something I've been wondering, she said quietly. Why do you think the Voidborn chose to contact us at all? With their technology, they could likely pass through without detection. Alex considered the question. I think they value protocol and proper channels. Despite their power, they seem to respect boundaries. It's almost old-fashioned. Or perhaps, Olivia suggested, joining them. They're simply curious about us. We're the newcomers in this neighborhood. Maybe they want to understand what's changed since their last visit. Admiral Miller overheard them as she gathered her materials. Whatever their reasons, we represent humanity now. All of us. Every colony. Every outpost. And we will show them that humans may be young in galactic terms, but we're ready to stand as equals. Even if we have to make up the rules as we go along, Alex added with a smile. The shuttle approached the massive Voidborn vessel for the second time. Inside, the atmosphere was different now, tense but purposeful. Admiral Miller sat straight-backed in her uniform, reviewing notes on her tablet one last time. Remember, she told Alex and Olivia, we're not begging. We're offering a reasonable compromise between their needs and ours. Alex nodded, watching the alien ship grow larger through the viewport. It seemed even more impressive than before, its strange shifting patterns now glowing with subtle blue light. Receiving docking instructions, Kate announced from the pilot's seat. Same procedure as last time. As the shuttle was drawn into the vast bay, Admiral Miller stood and smoothed her uniform. Let's show them humanity's best face. The interior of the Voidborn ship seemed different this time. The lights pulsed in new patterns, and the air carried different scents. 5 Voidborn waited for them instead of 3, their translucent bodies glowing with varying intensities. The central figure, taller than the others, moved forward. Admiral Diane Miller, you honor us with your presence. The Admiral showed no surprise at being addressed by name. Thank you for meeting with us again. We have considered your request for passage through our territory. Alex activated the holographic projector they had brought, displaying a 3-dimensional map of the solar system. Both the original Voidborn path and the human alternative route glowed clearly in different colors. We proposed this alternative route. Admiral Miller continued, gesturing to the green line. It bypasses our settlements while adding minimal time to your journey. The lead Voidborn studied the map silently, inner lights pulsing in complex patterns as it communicated silently with its companions. Then, unexpectedly, it made a sound, something like water bubbling mixed with wind chimes. "It's laughing," Olivia whispered, surprised. "Your species continues to surprise us," the Voidborn communicated directly to their minds. "The old races would have either surrendered their territories immediately or attempted to block us entirely. We prefer finding middle ground when possible," Admiral Miller replied evenly. "Indeed. Your alternative shows both wisdom and courage. You protect your people while offering practical assistance." The Voidborn's lights shifted to a deeper blue. "We accept your proposal." Alex and Olivia exchanged relieved glances, though both maintained their professional expressions. Additionally, the Voidborn continued, "We wish to offer an exchange during our passage. There is much we can teach you about the cosmos." Admiral Miller glanced briefly at Alex and Olivia, who both nodded slightly. "We would welcome such an exchange," she responded, "provided it respects certain boundaries we would need to establish." "Of course," the Voidborn agreed. "Unlike the old races, you understand that true strength comes from facing the unknown, not hiding from it." "We're a curious species," Alex added. "We value knowledge." The lead Voidborn moved closer, its body casting strange shadows. "Long ago, when we last passed through this galaxy, the old races saw only threat and indifference. They fought or they fled. You humans seek understanding first. It is refreshing." "May I ask," Olivia ventured, "why you migrate at all? What drives your journey?" The 5 Voidborn pulsed in unison, their lights briefly synchronizing. "We follow cosmic currents you cannot yet perceive, rivers of energy that flow between galaxies. To remain still would be death for us." Admiral Miller nodded. "Like salmon swimming upstream on Earth, or the great bird migrations that cross our continents." "Yes," the Voidborn responded, lights brightening. "You understand more than the old races did, even after thousands of years of contact with us." As they finalized the details of their agreement, Alex couldn't help but feel they had crossed an important threshold, not just for humanity, but perhaps for galactic relations as a whole. The main conference room at Lunar Command had never hosted such a diverse group. 2 weeks after the successful negotiation, representatives from 3 Alliance species finally arrived: the crystalline Arcturians, the insectoid Centaurians, and the gaseous Regulans. Alex watched them file in, noting their obvious discomfort. The Arcturian representative, High Ambassador Zix, looked especially rigid, his crystalline form catching the light as he took his seat. Admiral Miller welcomed them with cool politeness. "We're pleased you could finally join us. Though your timing is interesting, given that the Voidborn fleet has already begun their passage through our system." Ambassador Zix's crystal facets flashed with blue light, a sign of agitation. "We must express our concern at humanity's unilateral decision to negotiate with the Voidborn without Alliance consultation. A decision we were forced to make," Admiral Miller replied evenly, "after the Alliance abandoned Earth without warning or explanation." The Centaurian representative, Ambassador Trill, clicked her mandibles nervously. "We retreated to protect crucial knowledge and technology. The historical records are clear. The Voidborn destroyed entire civilizations during their last migration. Yet they've accepted our proposed alternative route without resistance," Alex pointed out. "The first 20 ships of their fleet have already passed through the Kuiper Belt, following exactly the path we established." The Regulan representative, Ambassador Mist, swirled anxiously within her containment field. "This is merely tactical deception. The histories record. The histories record events from over 10,000 years ago." Olivia interrupted, surprising everyone with her directness. "Has it occurred to any of you that the Voidborn might have evolved in that time? That their society and practices might have changed?" The Alliance representatives exchanged uncomfortable glances, their different biologies all somehow conveying the same emotion: embarrassment. Furthermore, Admiral Miller added, leaning forward, the Voidborn have begun sharing scientific knowledge with us, information that has already advanced our understanding of dimensional physics by decades. You cannot trust, Ambassador Zix began. We're not trusting blindly, Alex said firmly. We're verifying everything through our own research, but we're also not condemning an entire species based on ancient history. Dr. Lee, who had been quietly observing from the side of the room, finally spoke up. The Voidborn told us something interesting about your ancestors. They said the old races either surrendered or fought, but never negotiated, never looked for a middle path. Ambassador Mist's gaseous form contracted slightly. There was no middle path. The Voidborn were unstoppable. Yet we found a way to work with them, Commander Harper said, joining the conversation. Perhaps the problem wasn't that they were unstoppable, but that no one tried to understand what they actually wanted. The Arcturian ambassador's crystalline form dimmed slightly. Your species has always been unpredictable. Sometimes it leads to disaster. And sometimes, Admiral Miller replied, it leads to breakthrough. Ambassador Trill's antennae twitched nervously. We should have been consulted. Earth is still a junior member of the Alliance. A junior member you abandoned at the first sign of danger, Alex reminded them. That changes things, wouldn't you say? The room fell silent as the Alliance members absorbed this truth. What happens now? Ambassador Zix finally asked. Admiral Miller stood up. Now we continue monitoring the Voidborn passage. We continue learning from the knowledge exchange we established. And perhaps most importantly, we reconsider Earth's position within the Alliance. Are you threatening to leave? Ambassador Mist swirled anxiously. Not at all, the Admiral replied with a slight smile. We're suggesting that humanity's role should evolve. We've demonstrated capabilities that merit more respect and a stronger voice in Alliance matters. As the meeting continued, Alex noticed something unexpected in the body language of the alien representatives, not just concern or embarrassment, but something that looked remarkably like respect. Alex stood at the large observation window on Lunar Command's uppermost level, watching as the last Voidborn vessel prepared to leave the solar system. Its massive form glowed against the backdrop of stars, beautiful in its alien way. Quite a sight, isn't it? Olivia said, joining him at the window. Alex nodded, smiling slightly. Hard to believe it's been nearly a month since they first appeared. The final knowledge exchange was completed this morning, Olivia reported, checking her data tablet. Their insights into dimensional navigation alone will change how we approach space travel. We've gained centuries of advancement in weeks. And the Alliance? Alex asked. Still uncomfortable, she replied with a small smile. But they've started asking for copies of our negotiation records and diplomatic procedures. I think they're trying to understand what we did differently. Heavy footsteps announced Commander Harper's arrival. The Voidborn representative is here for the final meeting, he said. Admiral Miller is waiting in the observation lounge. They found the Admiral standing tall near another viewport, facing the lid Voidborn. Its translucent body seemed somehow more vibrant today, pulsing with complex patterns of light. Our journey through your territory has been peaceful and productive. The alien communicated directly to their minds. It has been many migrations since we experienced such an exchange. We appreciate your adherence to our agreement, Admiral Miller replied formally. Before we depart, the Voidborn continued, we wish to share an observation about humans. Alex felt a flutter of anticipation as all eyes turned to the alien. The Voidborn's inner lights shifted through a spectrum of blues and greens. The old races call your species reckless, emotional, and unpredictable. They see these qualities as weaknesses. We've heard similar assessments, Olivia acknowledged. They are wrong, the Voidborn stated simply. When faced with an unknown threat, the old races retreated to safety. Their caution, what they consider wisdom, is actually fear hardened by time. The alien moved closer to the viewport, its form reflected against the stars. You humans stepped forward when they stepped back. You sought understanding where they assumed danger. You offered compromise where they saw only threat. Some might call that naive, Admiral Miller said. Perhaps, the Voidborn agreed. Or perhaps it is the highest form of courage, to approach the unknown with an open mind rather than a closed one. The alien turned back to face them. The old races would call you cowardly for seeking middle ground rather than standing firm in defense. They do not understand that bending requires greater strength than breaking. Among humans, Alex reflected, finding common ground isn't seen as weakness, but as wisdom. A wisdom the galaxy needs, the Voidborn agreed. When we return this way in another 10,000 years, we look forward to seeing what your cowardly species has accomplished. After the Voidborn departed, Admiral Miller gathered her team in the command center. The mood was thoughtful, even celebratory. Well, she said, looking around at the humans who had faced this challenge together, it seems our greatest strength wasn't our technology or even our diplomacy. It was our willingness to be seen as cowards by those too afraid to try something new. Alex finished. Commander Harper laughed softly. So the key to galactic diplomacy is having just enough courage to show up, but not too much pride to compromise. Send a message to Alliance headquarters. Admiral Miller instructed her communications officer. Inform them that Earth will be taking a more active role in galactic diplomacy effective immediately. It seems the galaxy could use some of our particular brand of courage. Even if it looks like cowardice to some. Olivia asked with a smile. The Admiral nodded, her eyes on the stars where the Voidborn had disappeared. Especially then. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is find a third option when everyone else sees only two. As the team dispersed, Alex remained by the window a moment longer. Humanity had faced its first great test among the stars, not with weapons or technology, but with the simple courage to seek understanding. It wouldn't be the last such test, but they had proven themselves ready for whatever came next.